this morning, we want to take a live look at the Sandringham estate in England. This is one of the historic homes owned by King Charles, and it is the site where the former Prince Andrew was arrested in this historic arrest yesterday morning. Now, this morning, authorities are searching a separate residence that was connected to Andrew. He was released from police custody, but remains under investigation after seemingly being connected to information in the Epstein files. With us now is broadcaster, international lawyer Andrew Eborn, also CNN royal commentator Sally Bedell Smith. And Sally, I do want to start with you here on the subject of Sandringham, because that is where Andrew returned to in that car after he was released from police custody. And for all we know, that's where he is right now. It's also a home owned by King Charles personally. So talk to us about how that's in some ways representative of this internal conflict, because the king says that he was promising the full and wholehearted cooperation with the investigation, but his brother's sleeping at his house.
Well, I don't think there's a contradiction. That is the Sandringham estate. It's 20,000 acres. It has 7 villages. It has hundreds of houses. This is one of them. And in effect, people wouldn't use this language, but Andrew is kind of being held under house arrest by his older brother. The word that you hear from the people in Buckingham Palace is that Andrew is being contained. Remember when he was living not too long ago at Windsor in a house that had belonged to his grandmother? He was free to roam, and he was out there riding on horseback and waving to passersby. And that was really, I think, the straw that broke the camel's back. When King Charles said, enough is enough, you have to get out of here. They'd been negotiating for his release for a while. Now he is at Sandringham, and really, he's in an isolated place. I have seen it. He's not going to be out hobnobbing with the tourists. He is being contained until they figure out what to do. He has been arrested. He has been questioned. He is still under investigation. His other house, the one from where he was evicted, I've been told he was a pack rat. And so heaven only knows what documents they can find there. So I don't think there's a contradiction. The other question is whether Charles himself will be questioned about his relationship with Andrew and how much he knew. He is not compelled to answer questions, but he has said that he will cooperate fully with the investigation.
Let's take this in parts, Andrew. Then first, just describe to me, what is this current legal situation that Andrew finds himself in as he is in Sandringham, as Sally describes, under a type of containment there?
Well, at first, I wouldn't say it's necessarily under containment. He certainly moved from what was a massive mansion, a 30-room mansion, royal lodge in Windsor, to what Andrew's calling a shoebox of a place. So there's a massive humiliation on that sort of side. But undoubtedly, yesterday saw a seismic shift from history. It's the first time in nearly 400 years that a senior royal was arrested in Britain. Andrew Mountbatten, he spent the day in custody, about 11 hours. He was being questioned, and by the evening he was released under investigation. What that means is that the investigation is still continuing, and the relevant contempt of court rules still apply, which means that basically anybody that says anything that might prejudice a fair trial could themselves be exposed to a potential fine and also imprisonment for up to 2 years. The fine itself, basically, it could be unlimited and so on and so forth, but the charge that Andrew faces is quite extraordinary. This thing about a public office and basically corruption in public office, if you like, it carries a maximum sentence of life imprisonment. And what happens there is they need to have a look and see all of the evidence, get that at a very, very high level, if you like, to sort of turn around and say, this is the threshold. But what the king has done, he's turned around and very wisely, he turned around and confirmed that nobody is above the law, including his own brother. And he wants the proper process to be carried out. So that's what we're going to see. The police at the moment are looking at different properties. They're assessing the evidence, and then they will make a decision as to whether or not they're going to charge.
Obviously, we're standing by for that. Could be some time, we are told. Andrew Eborn, Sally Bedell Smith, thank you both very much. Kate?